Good evening. Welcome back to this second segment of the Glazov Gang. And we are here with three wise women that are members of the Glazov Gang. Welcome back, ladies.
Thank you.
In this segment, we want to focus in on some of the catastrophes within the Obama administration. I think we want to focus on Benghazi, but also because we also have an expert business strategist with us to look into the economic catastrophe and to the miserable way that the Obama administration is dealing with it. Jackie, why don't we begin with you? As a business strategist, what do you see as the overriding issue, and what are you mostly concerned with?
Well, the overriding issue, quite frankly, to me is a human issue. Look, we have over 20 million people unemployed, seeking to make a living again, looking for a job and not being able to find one. We have 46.2% people on food stamps. We have millions of families in poverty. That is unacceptable to me.
Is this Bush's fault?
Bush left us with a deficit, but Obama quadrupled the deficit. No, it is not Bush's fault. The fault goes back many years, and there are many causes to it. But the tragedy is that Obama made it far worse. And I mean, look at where the deficit is.
So if he made it worse, how's he going to make it better if he keeps pursuing the same policies?
I don't think he will make it better. I don't think that the basic understanding... Look, what is his plan? It's a blank sheet of paper. I don't know to this day, and we are a few days before the election, what his plan really is. He just came out with a glossy booklet with lots of pictures, but that doesn't amount to a plan.
Do you think that Romney has a better plan?
Well, yes, I do, absolutely. I want to say that I am an independent, and so, you know, for the record, I don't agree with all the issues on the Democrat or on the Republican side. But here is the reason why I vote for Romney. I trust him because he understands enormous infrastructures, no matter how complex they are. And look, for example, how he turned the Olympics around. That is a global project, extremely difficult, and he made it successful. Look how many companies he created with millions of jobs. And when he was governor of Massachusetts, he changed the budget. It was a deficit budget. He put it into balance. And how did he do that? He reached across the aisle, and with a Congress that was practically 100% Democratic, he was able to create successful solutions because he was willing to be flexible and reach across the aisle.
Jackie, let me ask you something. Bill Clinton, I think, was a foreign policy catastrophe, but economically, I mean, he was good on a lot of levels. He was a fiscal conservative on some levels. Do you think that when Bill Clinton, as a very sharp fiscal conservative in terms of what he did with the U.S., isn't he horrified when he looks at Obama's plans deep down?
Well, I think he is. And frankly, you know, the relationship between Clinton and Obama was not a very good one, especially when his wife ran for president against him. But he is a Democrat, and he is a party person, and he's not going to betray his party. So there was a lot of pressure on him to work with Obama, and because he's not going to go against his own party. He's a loyal guy.
Thank you very much. Suzanne Rato, let me turn over to foreign policy, although you're free to talk about economics as well. We were talking a little bit before the show, and like many people, you're horrified and frightened in terms of what the truth really is about Benghazi. I mean, it appears, the evidence is coming in, the administration did not protect that embassy, and it knew it was there was a security threat, and then it covered up what it knew. What are your thoughts about what it all happened and what it says about Obama?
Well, I would call it dereliction of duty, because starting in April, then continuing in June, there were attacks at the consulate, and Chris Stevens begged and pleaded for extra security. and they never received it. And the proof of the pudding is in his diary, that he kept constantly telling the administration, and there were certain channels, so I'm not sure it went directly to the president, of course, but the chain of command is through the State Department, but he begged and pleaded for extra security, and they did not receive it. And I've also found out something very disturbing, because the Benghazi incident is an indication and a symbol of a lot of things to come, and a lot of things that may have happened below our radar. The administration has a responsibility when they're building a consulate. An embassy is a little different because their restrictions and specs are different. But the consulate has how high a wall has to be, what type of doors and windows have to be, what kind of gates, and such similar issues. Supposedly, and I say supposedly because I have no concrete proof, the consulate in Benghazi was allowed to get through without any kind of discriminatory obligation to the reality. And no one knows where the buck stopped as far as that is concerned. And that to me was the beginning of the problem. So everything else just built on it. And then when the administration, 2 hours after the incident, they have live streaming video, they know what's going on, and they're not doing anything about it. That is scary, frightening, and horrifying, because the president's duty is to protect not only the citizenry of the country, but most of all the diplomatic corps throughout the world. And of all things, 9/11, this incident happened 9/11. For us not to put extra security in the Middle Eastern countries is absolutely unforgivable.
Absolutely.
Well,
And to call it for 10 days the reason as a result of the video on the internet,
absolutely.
which was 14 times watched only, and that's just an excuse.
Thank you, Suzanne. Something that I'm still mind-boggled with is how Biden and the administration keep saying, oh, well, we didn't know. The State Department knew, but we didn't know. It's a very strange excuse. I don't understand it. If you're the president, you're supposed to know. The fact that you didn't know doesn't exonerate you.
17 different organizations received the information. About 400 emails went out to different people.
Yeah, we just found that out. I want to go to Nani, but Jackie, you look like you want to say something quickly? Or?
Well, I'll defer to Nani and then maybe come back, if you like.
Okay, go ahead. Okay, go ahead, Nani.
Well, I think a lot of Americans don't understand the actions of Obama. And the reason really is because Obama's policies and actions cater to pleasing the Muslim world. And that's why he leaves the American people just stunned. They don't understand why he's doing that. Why didn't Obama provide the proper security in Benghazi, which is an area of terrorists? Benghazi is really a terrorist, Islamic terrorist area. And for him not to provide proper security there is a reason that's not understood in America, but I perfectly understand it from the Islamic side. Obama has promised the Muslim world our confrontation is only limited now with Afghanistan and nowhere else. And even Afghanistan is ending next year. And he does not want to be in any kind of military confrontation with Islam because it's against Sharia. He doesn't want Americans to be protecting Americans. He would rather see Muslims protect Americans. But what he doesn't understand, when he brought Libyan security guards to guard the ambassador, I think this is gross negligence, because he should have understood that according to Sharia, a Muslim cannot kill another Muslim for the sake of an American. So these security guards know very well if push comes to shove and there are terrorists coming to shoot at the American ambassador and the rest of the Americans, they, under Sharia, cannot shoot and kill a Muslim for the American's sake. It cannot happen. And that's why many Muslims who work in the American military are, in my opinion, a threat, because they, under Islamic law, they cannot kill a Muslim for the sake of for the sake of
No,
America.
I understand.
This is a conflict of interest. And for America, for the American president to put Libyan security guards to guard the American ambassador, in my opinion, is gross negligence.
Thank you very much, Nani. Quite a bit of horrifying evidence there. And when we really think about it, the last time I was really scared, I was 11 years old in the dark watching The Exorcist. I have to say that with Obama in power, that dread is coming back to me that I felt when I was 11 years old. Jackie, you look like you have some wisdom to share with us.
First of all, the facts tell the story. You know, no matter how much spinning goes on and how much tales are woven, the facts are the facts, and they're all coming out, and I don't understand how they could ever assume that this wouldn't come out. But here's a couple of questions I would like to ask our president. Number one, on the night that you learned about the attacks, what did you do about it? I mean, what was your command? What was your duty as commander-in-chief? I would like to have specifics. He has never answered any of this.
And the media does not ask him those questions.
And the media is not asking him that, but I'm asking the president to answer these questions. Number two, you went to bed that night. What did you think about? Why didn't you think about changing your plans for the morning? After all, this was about the lives of people that you put in position. This was about Americans. And you, Mr. President, stated that the most important job you have is to protect American citizens. Well, they were your citizens too. And the ambassador himself had asked several weeks, and there were several requests for more security. Why didn't you answer these requests? Why didn't your administration do anything about it? So it would never have come to this horrendous event.
And Jackie, out of all the places, he goes to Las Vegas.
And goes to Las
I think he went to Vegas.
For
I mean,
a
you would even
for a
think,
fundraiser.
yeah, but
For
you
a
would think that
fundraiser.
even Vegas, even the connotation, you would think that a person with sensitivity and some heart, the president of the United States,
How
does not
could he
go
do
to
that?
Vegas after.
Especially
There's a
because at
video.
the time we didn't know what was coming out.
But we never have
Now
heard
we
it
do.
from him.
No.
We have never heard the real story from his administrations, and I think they are derelict in their duties.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid to say that there is a misleading issue here, and that issue questions matters of character, matters of integrity, and matters of absolute truthfulness.
Thank you, Jackie. We're going to go to Nani. Suzanne, your thoughts on this?
Well, I totally agree with all of those things, and especially that the president himself went to the UN, and even at the UN 10 days later, he announced that this was a spontaneous reaction to the video trailer, and there is no reason why we should insult Islam or any other religion. And then sent Susan Rice, the ambassador to the UN, and on 5 different TV stations, she espouses the same mantra. Yeah. It's a spontaneous reaction and all of that. This is absolutely misleading, misguiding, and deceiving the American public. And I believe the media is just as responsible, because the media has responsibility to the public to present information. If they don't present information, how does most of the public get informed?
And I think one of the biggest crimes that occurred is the whole Muslim world is watching, and the filmmaker of the innocence of Muslims is dragged out in the middle of the night by our law enforcement, which basically says to jihad and to Sharia, you are right in your Islamic blasphemy laws, and we will carry them out for you. The President of the United States oversaw that, and you know the evidence is there that they were behind this, dragging that filmmaker.
The tragedy is that he knew it himself.
They should have stopped him.
So where are the Hollywood
Nani, go ahead.
people?
Go ahead.
Where are the Hollywood people?
Defending a
defending
filmmaker.
the filmmaker, even though he's an amateur and it's not a good movie, but he has the right. But he did this arrest. It's a photo op that he needed to send the Arab world. A lot of people in America don't understand why Obama is doing all that. He's doing all that because I understand it from the Islamic side that he is pleasing the Islamic side, and it's all a photo op to make the Saudi king that he bowed to happy. And there is a clip, a TV clip in Egypt that I saw in Arabic. It hasn't been translated, of the attack on the Benghazi consulate, and one of the people who are attacking, he's telling somebody who was coming to stop them, don't shoot, don't shoot. Morsi sent us.
That's right.
Morsi sent us, which means that there is a link with Egypt. Those terrorists are linked to Egypt, and in my opinion, and I think it's clear, that they were trying to take the ambassador alive as a hostage in order to release the blind sheikh.
Wow.
I think there is a good because when they took the ambassador in a clip, he was still breathing when they took him out of the building, and they were saying Allahu Akbar in Arabic. He's breathing, Allahu Akbar, which means good, we got him before he died. They wanted him alive, but when he died, they just put him back in the so there's all of these happening, and the whole actions by America is so obvious to appease the Muslim world, much more than protecting the American citizens. I think they were, the ambassador and the 3 good Americans were killed. It's a waste.
Thank you very much, Nani. Very troubling times. Unfortunately, we're out of time. And one of the reasons I do the Glazov Gang is for years I watch CNN, MSNBC, etc. We do not see these discussions. What is being said on this show this evening, apart from Fox News, we don't see these voices in the mainstream media.
And this
we only have 2 minutes left. Each of you, as you go to bed in the next couple evenings before the election, what's primarily on your mind? 30 seconds each, please, Suzanne.
I pray for a Romney victory, because I think Romney brings hope and change for the future and keeps this country the great country that has been and hopefully will be, because free enterprise and liberty is what gives us hope for the future.
Suzanne, now please don't get angry with me, and I don't want you to get too depressed. It's just a hypothetical question. If Obama wins that evening, what will be your thoughts?
You know, Jamie, I don't even want to think about that, but I'm physically depressed over the thought.
Jackie,
possibility.
Final words of wisdom?
My words of wisdom is really words from my heart. I'm aching for all those people who are trying to make a life and who are denied every opportunity because of a false strategy, a false agenda, and a false plan for this country. And I am going to vote for Romney because I have the knowledge that he can do what he says. He can turn this economy around. Not fast, it's going to be a slow rebuild. He can create the jobs. After all, I read his plan, and I understand his plan. And you know what? It makes a great deal of sense to me. So I'm hopeful he will win.
Thank you, Jackie. Nani, my red light is flashing. 20 seconds,
if Obama
wisdom, please.
Wins, Islam will have a stranglehold in America, in the government, on mosques, everywhere. It's going to be very hard for any future president to prevent America from having a huge confrontation with Islam internally. We're going to be having the poison would spread inside this country, and we are going to be suffering, and we're going to leave our kids with a civil war to fight Islam internally in America.
Nani, hypothetically, if we continue to say what we think about the truth of, let's say, the life of Muhammad, is there a chance in our lifetime we'll go to prison in the United States for doing so?
Absolutely. He already arrested the filmmaker.
Thank you so much for coming on the Glazov Gang. You are 3 truth tellers and very wise women in our world, and I hope you'll come back on the Glazov Gang. Thank you for sharing your love of freedom with us this evening.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity to share our views.
Join us next week for another edition of the Glazov Gang.